Today we're going to talk about specifically COVID-19 live occupancy control system. Now, we have done people counting for many years now. So traditionally our system is, we do people counting for retailers, for supermarkets as well, even before that, and for offices, for smart building. But now we have got a big demand to do occupancy counting. We have also done occupancy counting before COVID. That is more for crowd control, for very big venue on there. So I'm going to talk about something about us. So about FootfallCam. So we are a global leader in people counting. Sorry, I just want to check out my recording. Apologies for that. So we are from the United Kingdom in the UK. So we are a manufacturer. We build our own hardware as well as we develop the whole software platform. So apart from the hardware, from the image processing, counting, and also to all the reports, the whole complete suite with the enterprise network level software, we all developed it 100% in-house. So that makes us very unique. Because usually if you're a manufacturer, it's usually just the hardware and you will rely on a system integrator to do the software. But the unique situation here is that we are able to build any reporting or any customization that your customers will require. So we are also very fully capable of doing any integration for you or for your customers, and also installing the whole software onto your server. So that's where we are, and we also continuously reinvesting more than 24% of our revenue into research and development. It is an in-house team that we have. We do serve multiple sectors from retail, fast food, restaurants, museums to smart building and transport industry. So prior to COVID-19, we have done a lot of occupancy, but now the demand is more specifically at the shop. So now the topic of the webinar, we're going to talk about what the businesses are looking, what the worries are about reopening the business after the lockdown, FootfallCam safe occupancy and how it's going to help them on that, how it works, the key feature benefits, and also what market segments are specifically requiring for this solution, and what kind of marketing experience that we have that we can share with you, some ideas, and also the sales support from FootfallCam. We're going to talk about the case studies as well. Now, why do the end user need safe occupancy? Now, of course, because they are reopening, they do have to put in place a set of preventive measures to comply with the government guidelines on social distancing and occupancy restriction. They also want to protect the employee because employees are now really worried about going back to work. A lot of businesses are finding that a very big challenge, that they may not have their full team of employees wanting to go back to work. And it's also to reassure the visitor. The system is automated, so it's very cost effective, and there is long-term benefit. I'm going to go through more details in there. Now, helping the business to comply with social distancing. So as we say, many businesses are already planning. Actually, in here in the UK, they are reopening on Monday. So many different countries, some are already slowly opening up. So they have to find a way to limit that. Many of them, they resort to assign security guards, especially those that have kept open throughout the lockdown, for example, supermarkets, hospitals, those that have, then they resort to security guard just to be at the door to make sure that people don't all just rush in. But it's very costly and it's manual counting. I'm going to go through the more specific comparison, and it does not provide no evidence for compliance. Whereas with the FootfallCam system, it is automated, so it's very cost effective. You don't have to have personnel deployment. It is accurate because it's scientifically driven with proven accuracy, and it's also accountable with the live dashboard and management reports. So I'll briefly go through on the comparison between manual counting and automated counting. Now, they must have, so measuring the occupancy is a must-have now. So every offices, every businesses will have to do that. So they're either they're doing it manually or automated. So the manual counting, then there is a setup cost, because obviously they will need to have personnel there. And depending on the cost of it, depending on different country, you are talking about at least this figure per month. Now with the FootfallCam Safe Occupancy, it is a one-off setup cost. So the device, including the installation, the market is looking at around about that figure, $1,200. So this is what our partners that have already installed and all the businesses that have already installed so far. This is kind of like the figures. Some are charging a little bit more, but these are kind of the figures that what the market is prepared to pay. They will then straight away just go on and say, it's a no-brainer, they will just install it on there. Now, the accuracy with the manual counting is very low. The reason being is because you would need non-stop counting from the first hour to the last hour, and you rely on a person. Obviously, a person may not be paying full attention in counting, because they probably need to deal with the customers who are queuing at the outside. People might ask them questions, they need to respond to that. So it's difficult to get a good accuracy. And there's no way to actually prove that accuracy either. It's not verifiable. But whereas with the people counter, it's very transparent, is there. You can actually see the video. We have video proof. And the accuracy will reach more than 95%. So from the customer's perception, so for the businesses, they have already invested and deploy security guards there at that cost, but to their customer, it is not systematic, it's not scientific, it's very subject to human judgment. Whereas with this one, they know is a system, is a scientifically proven, data-driven control. And of course, then this has also the long-term benefits. So now I'll quickly go through to show you how it works. I'll explain a little bit. So you put a people counting camera, our camera at the door, and it will count number of people going in and out. So as they go out like this, and then you will put a display screen there at the door. So now it starts counting, and then that is your limit. Now, once it's hit limit, it says stop. So people should queue until the next person go out. Then you'll be able to have the next, allow the next person in. So these is 4 simple steps. So step 1, you install a camera. Step 2, you configure, you obviously configure the camera, mix up the setting. We configure on the system, so that, because sometimes you might just have one entrance needing one camera to an area, but some shops may have 2 or 3 doors, and offices might have, going into different rooms. So you need to set that up. So we set that up with you, and then you will have to provide a display. So a display at those doors where you want people to queue and not just all rush in. And then step 4, we also create an alert. So the alert will be that it usually is via email or a telegram or an alert on through the app, because this is so that if people are ignoring the sign and still keep coming in, then we want to alert the staff so that they can go to the door now to make sure no further people go in, so so that allow them to make a timely decision. So I'll show you a video here about how it actually works. So this is how it works. So this is going in this direction, that direction is going out, and it starts coming in, then it increases. And then now people should stop seeing that sign until a person go out, then become green again, and the next person can go in. And here, if I draw your attention here, I was going to play it again. So here, this is a live occupancy monitor for the staff. So this is what we call a display for customer facing, and this would then be for staff facing. Yeah, so so with the components that you will need a camera, at the door, you will need to provide them with a display, a customer-facing dashboard, and also for this, then usually they might use their own computer or their iPad or laptop or anything for a employee-facing dashboard, and also a staff alert. And then you will have the occupancy reports. Now, this can be for store level, for management level, where they have many stores, or if it's then for the individual branch offices. So this one is for them to be able to see whether or not they have any point in time that they are more vulnerable at breaching that maximum capacity. Then that way they will be able to plan for more support at that point. And if it's for a top management, then they'll be able to see which area, which store will need more support from them at the head office. So this is a system package. It is very straightforward. It's an all-in-one package. So the hardware will come with the integrated software. So many of you have been with us, as you understand that we sell you the camera at your reseller pricing, and then you sell it on to your end user. We do have a recommended pricing there. Now then you will get your analytic manager, which is a software that comes with the reportings, an app for the Android tablet, or you can display it on any screen. I'll talk about what the other options are for displaying. And then you have the live occupancy dashboard for these employee facing and also for the customer facing. On that. It's very quick and easy installation. As many of you have known, is just one cable, one Cat5 network cable installation. We still have a short delivery lead time at the moment, so we should be able to send it out to you quickly. You might find that your customer now will be very demanding. They want the system very quickly. Now, the key features of the safe occupancy is real time. So all the dashboard or the display will display the real-time occupancy at that point. The update is every second. Now it's very accurate. It's above 95% accuracy. I will show you our verification reports, how we do that as well. It is efficient because now the employee doesn't have to be at the door to man the door. They can continue doing their store operation role. It is convenient because then it can be displayed on any browser-enabled devices. So any tablet, mobile device, digital signage, you can do that. It is also timely because then we can alert the staff. Even if a staff member is not manning at the door, we will send them a very timely alert so that they can get to the door when they need to. It is very scalable. So in terms of number, so you can be installing just one camera for the one store only, or you can scale up to thousands of stores. So we have already done many retail chains that are many thousand stores, and also big offices, big venues where they have hundreds of counters in one place. So it's very scalable in that sense. It's also scalable in terms of the functionality. So it can be just doing occupancy counting and footfall counting at the door, but later they can also have it for queue counting, for all the other functionality that I'll mention later as well. Privacy friendly. It is all GDPR exempt, actually, not only just compliant, but it is also exempt. We can share those documentation if you need. You'll be able to download that as well, so that if your customers at any time question you about the data privacy, so you can show them that we are fully exempt. It is a proven technology. We have already used it for many years in the field. Now I want to talk about the key function. So you have a traffic light control at the entrance. So you have a display, then it will show green light if it's within the threshold, and it will then turn into a red sign when is reaching the threshold. Now it is a real-time update every second. So this customer facing is so that it acts like an indicator. So you want to put it right on the outside at the entrance where people queue. So then when it's green, then allowing them to go in. Then you're wanting that when it then become red, people will then be able to see that and stop. So you want to display your message here. Now this is very easy to change, so you can change it to any languages that you need it to be, or any message that you want to show there. Now I've also got partners asking me, can we not show the numbers? We can. So a lot of people obviously want to show that, so that they will know that what number are we looking at. But we do also have partners who say some businesses may not want to show the actual number and just want to show a green and red sign. So that's perfectly fine as well. Now, then you have a live occupancy dashboard for your employee for inside the store. So for example, store manager will want to look at this. They're going to see the occupancy throughout the day, as well as also having the green and red traffic light here. So they can see that. They can see it on any devices. They would just access it via a URL. They log in to see that, so that they can reallocate their staff obviously from counting rows, but also then they can allocate their staff to do different tasks accordingly. Yeah. So now then, of course, not all managers or stores will have someone be able to glue their eyes onto that screen. So that's why you want an alert, so that where staff are actually doing other job, even for example, some office buildings, some big supermarkets where they normally have security guards on site. Their security guards usually have other duties, of course, so they're always there, but at least they now have this screen and also an alert to them. Then they can continue doing their normal job pre-COVID, but then they will be able to get alerted and go to the door to act when they get an alert. So we want to alert them, because obviously when you have just a sign out there, some people might ignore it and just try to sneak in, but then the staff will be able to know with an alert. So this is a very kind of like the most important requirement from your end customers. They will really require that to have this sort of alert. Now then, the reports is mainly for management, because the management doesn't need to see things that is real time, but they want to make sure that the compliance is there every day and every hour throughout the day. So this is something for them to be able to keep track, keep an eye on there. And then if there is any time of the day, any specific time that is very vulnerable to breaching, then again, they will be able to plan accordingly. They'll be able to make a data-driven decision. So this is quite important for them. So we have the report there. Now we also have this widget. We call it the website widget. It's a widget for the website. It is a live occupancy tracker. So this is where, again, is also a requirement from the market. So they come to tell us and say, now, especially those that have been trading, like supermarkets, they have huge long queue outside the supermarket at sometimes, so it can queue up onto the road, onto other neighboring property, and it's very stressful and it's very challenging for the supermarket. They feel that indeed actually it is their responsibility to manage this crowd, this queue outside their store. So they're almost wanting to see that, so that the customer can actually go to their website and check on their occupancy level before they leave the house. So they are wanting to have a proactive approach to influence the customer traffic before they come to the store. Because once the customer comes to the store, they can only queue, or they'll be very grumpy and complain. But with this one, the idea is that the customer, before they go out of the house, they will just check, okay, my supermarket near me, and then they will see that, oh, okay, it's now being crowded. And then, so this is the current time. So if I'm tracking the website now, I'm seeing this current time, okay, it is crowded. But I will have a prediction. We always have a prediction engine for the rest of the day and also for tomorrow. So then they will be able to see that, okay, an hour later is much better. So then they can this is more what they're saying is influencing the traffic. So to stagger their visiting time, because for any businesses, they would like to have people coming in throughout the day rather than just peaking at their peak hour. So this would help the retailer to better comply to the social distancing and better manage. And it's also a better way to manage customers' expectation. So if you tell this to your end user, it is something that will think, okay, I need to have a system to count anyway. Now then, this is all the added features, all the competitive advantage that is good to have, because if I already seen this and I still insist to come down, then I would expect to queue. So this is a way to manage my expectation. So thereby improving my customer's experience. So these are the features with the occupancy control system. We will, I think some of you have already used our API to do integration. So we have integration directly to the camera or to our server. So we have an API document already ready with all the script there available. I could probably show you very quickly. It looks something like this on there. So you'll be able to get it push or pull way to get to your server. It can be from the, sorry, I should increase that. Yeah, direct from the camera, JSON, XML in the different format. Now, obviously, if you're using the occupancy, it will be real time per second data. We have the script already for the integration, but when you're integrating, you will let us know. We'll actually support you as well to help you with any queries when you're doing your integration. This is a SQL query to our SQL database. So it is an MS SQL database. So you can integrate it from taking it from our cloud server, or if you want to install the whole software into your own server and then do integration that way as well, that's perfectly fine. So coming back to here, so integration, we also have an added function where we have an IO pin to actually control electric doors. So we already have reseller doing that. So what this is that when the sign is showing the red stop sign, then it will also, the camera will also send a signal to close the door. So that people can't physically go in. We will control the door from the one from the outside going in, but not control the door from the when it's going in from the inside. So usually you have a sensor at both way. So we'll be controlling it from the outside here. So you can obviously set that up. So what we provide you is a cable for the IO pin, NONC. So you will then be able to connect it up to their door for that. And there are additional use cases after COVID-19. Now, as we mentioned, a lot of businesses, they do need to have it anyway for now. But it will be very useful for them to know that they're actually going to have lots more use case after that, so that they wouldn't feel that they're only doing a short-term investment. Their investment now to fulfill their current need will actually last them very long because of the additional use cases after that. Now, so additional matrices that we are measuring at the door anyway is the visitor count, how many people come in, how many people are outside. So then you get a turn-in rate, how many people are outside that comes in, how long they stay, if they're returning. And also, this is when we do an integration with sales data for retailers. If there are retailers, then they usually want a sales conversion. So this is already standard metrics that we measure anyway. Use cases by industry after that. For retailers, as I mentioned, they use the sales conversion rate as a KPI to monitor their store performances. They're literally saying to all their stores that you all need to make 16% sales conversion. That is the national standard. If anyone making better than that, they give a bonus. If not, then they will need them to improve their performance. So this is already something that they are always actively using. So if you're approaching a retailer, if they do not already have a people counting in place, now is definitely the time they have to do it, because they need to do it for occupancy, and they are wanting the sales conversion rate for future anyway. Now, supermarkets, so apart from footfall counting at the entrance, they also have all these added usage. So they can reposition the camera for queue counting at the till, or heat map or zone tracking. Now, supermarkets is probably supermarkets and fast food chain, they're usually not the one that would need a sales conversion, because everyone go to that shop they usually buy. So what they're wanting is more about queue management. So for example, even if they do not move it to the till, they put the camera at the door, it will help them plan. So for example, if the store manager is seeing that, oh, I have got 50 people coming in now, then this 50 people probably in half an hour time or 45 minutes time, that's usually the average shopping time in a supermarket, then this 50 people will end up at the till for checkout in that time. So this store manager now have 45 minutes to plan that in that time she will open 10 more tills and get her store staff to go to serve the customer at the checkout at that time. So things like this. So they are wanting to have this tool to be able to give them time to pre-plan. Now, hospitals and office buildings, many are already using it for smart building control. So we have already done smart building control facility utilization analysis for these buildings prior to COVID. So now there are even more reason to do that. Now, offices, they don't normally need footfall counting prior to this, but now they would need a occupancy counting, because offices usually, especially with a big tall office building, you're talking about probably a few thousand people that can be in there. So they really need to be able to know the numbers. So they need to make sure that they are within the regulation. So there is a big demand there. Now, there's also other functionalities that we can go through. And if you're interested, I will also share this integrated system, this PowerPoint slides later with you. If you do need it, please request it. So these are all the other additional functions. So apart from people counter at the door, you can put it on the inside for zone alert, zone counting, put it at a till for queue counting, Wi-Fi hotspot, CCTV, and all that, like heat map. So we have done, heat map on there, product location, effectiveness, product level, sales conversion, all those path map, CCTV. We have magic mirror as well, Wi-Fi hotspot, queue counting, ESL, electronic shelf label. So we have that. So if you need this, please have a look at that. So there are a lot of all the additional function with just the same camera. So so this is almost like a footing for you to a different industry. So you may be, your existing customer may have come from a certain industry. For example, they may have come from mostly retail. Then of course you can then install one now for occupancy, and then later expand and increase, cross-sell them on all the added functions there. Or you may now see yourself being able to get a footing into a different industry, like the hospitals and offices out there with all these additional function. So, but please ask us if you're wanting to know that. But it's also a good thing for you when you're telling your end customer, when they're investing a system, there is actually a full suite of functionality behind it. So they're not just limited to the current usage. Yeah. Now I'm going to talk about the different display screen options. So we mentioned about you will need to provide a display screen to show the green light and red light on there. So the first option, the most common one, will be with a tablet. So usually an Android tablet that is quite cost effective. You usually be able to get it under $200. We don't sell them, so we won't supply this to you. You will need to source it locally, which usually will be quite easy to source. Any Android, Samsung tablet, anything out there. Now, what it needs to do then is that it has a Wi-Fi connection, then it connects the Wi-Fi to the store, then to be able to log in to display that. We have an app so that they can download the app and have that display. But we also, sometimes you probably also find that your customers have a computer. So a lot of say, okay, I have a computer with I either have a laptop or I have a desktop with a big monitor. So they can use their own computer for that, because then they can just go on the browser and to display that. But if they come to you and say, I do have a monitor, because a lot of we do have is they come to you and say, I have a 43-inch monitor. But obviously a TV screen or a monitor doesn't go online on its own. So, and they say I don't want to have a big computer at my entrance because it doesn't look good and I don't have a place to put it. Then we do provide a mini computer. This is by us. The cost of it is $200. So it is a mini computer in it. It goes on Google. It has a VESA mount at the back, so you can mount it onto the VESA socket of the monitor, and you connect it with a cable, a HDMI. So it's actually a USB-C to a HDMI cable in there. You do need to power up, and that way then you connect up onto the network, and that's how you then be able to show it on the 43-inch. Now, there is a demand on this that is because some bigger shop or those that have a very big entrance, they might find that an Android tablet is too small and they will want to have a 43-inch or a 55-inch monitor, a big signage out there to display. Then they might then want to use a display module, we call it the mini computer. And then the third option is digital signage. So again, you might have customers that say that I already have a digital signage at the entrance, then you can make use of that. As long as you can get that digital signage to go online. So if they can go, if the digital signage is able to go to a browser, then that's fine. If not, then you would just use a mini computer. Again, this mini computer will just attach it to the digital signage. We also provide a digital signage. This is our other product. We call it the Magic Mirror. We have a 24-inch, which is this. We also have a 55-inch, which is a much bigger one, but that one is a lot more costly. This one is about $1,500. Please get a reseller pricing from us. This is a separate pricing that we supply to you. Now, this is of course a lot more expensive than a tablet, but we find that there is demand for that. The reason being is that you might find some customers telling you, I have no use for an Android tablet after this COVID-19. So I don't want to, especially if they're a chain where they have lots and lots of offices or branches. For example, if they have 500, that means that they will have to invest in 500 Android tablet. And they might find that if I do not have continued use case, I don't want to invest in that. But any stores, any offices, any hotels, any hospital, they will need to have a digital signage. It is something that they will find that it is expensive, more expensive, but it is something that they need to use anyway. You might then find them, they are very prepared to purchase a digital signage instead of an Android tablet. So the option is there, and they like to have that option clearly laid out to them, so they can find whichever way they want to. So we're providing this as a convenience. Our Magic Mirror is usually for brand immersion, for digital kiosks, for online ordering, for wayfinding, for fun things like virtual dressing, for a digital photo booth. So we do all those, a lot of more customer experience, in-store experience. So those are our Magic Mirror. So if you want to find out about us, it's on magicmirror.me on there. But then we can provide this, of course, for you to display on there. Now I want to quickly talk about case studies. So we have implemented more now. into government departments in different countries, and also retailers. Retailers now is not just retailers, you have offices, hospitals like that. There are more. This is one of the example. Government facilities. This is Hong Kong immigration department. So it's the government. They are putting in there because they still need to continue to provide all these public services to the public. For example, applying for passport, extending their visas, their ID card facilities, all this. So this one we want to highlight is the different language that they can display and how they want to set it to be. Supermarkets, naturally, so we have installed in here and more actually, so because they are the ones that were kept open during the lockdown. But now we have gone into more retail chains, those that are opening up. Some are our existing customers, so they upgraded the system to include the occupancy with their existing cameras, but a lot more new customers as well, because they would need the occupancy counting. Now I want to highlight this one. This is actually something we worked with prior to COVID-19. It was actually the year before that we have done. Now with this, because this is, I think some of our partners there in Saudi Arabia were well known. This is a very respectable place, a holy place for Muslims. It is a very big venue, and at peak traffic, they will actually reach that capacity. And for this one, it is mission critical crowd control to avoid stampede. So I explain a little here. This one is for, so if I go through here, so if you can see here, they will have different, so they will be putting cameras. This project involves 2,000 cameras. So putting cameras at all the entrances, and then measuring the occupancy in those areas. So this is somewhere where for their security guards, so that they can look at here and they can see. So they have a first threshold, usually about 65% of the maximum capacity. So anything lower than that will be green. Second threshold, probably about 90% of the maximum capacity. So anything in between here is yellow. So this is something that probably they will need to start planning to have security guards go to that area. This is those obviously is already full, so security guards should already be there to exercise a 1 out 1 in policy. So this is something that be able to have a dashboard for them to do. So so prior to COVID, we have already done occupancy, mainly is for crowd control. Like this, and it's also for facility management. I can show you a little bit more later about all those office, how they use it for facility analysis. So sales and marketing support. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what is so unique for this solution. Now, the characteristics of the demand for this solution is quite special, that we actually have an immediate high demand. This is very rare that you have it like this. So when it's something in high demand, we call it a commodity. So it has become a commodity because the whole world wants it. Then the demand would not be immediate, because you would have taken years. It would have taken years for any product that comes out of the market to get to become popular, to then become a commodity. So this rarely happens together, but now we actually have a very high demand, and it is immediate. We're talking that from the first demand to now is 2 months. That's when we first have the lockdown. So it is very immediate, and now everyone is getting out of lockdown. You have high demand. It's not just the retail shops. It's not just the supermarkets. Everyone, including government departments, including all offices, because the offices, they can't let everyone go back to the desk because the desk is so packed. So even an office environment is difficult to exercise the social distancing, so they need to limit their capacity as well. And this demand will last for at least a year. or at least we get a cure or a vaccine. So the demand is going to be, is not just absolute short term, is going to be there. And a lot of governments, a lot of sectors, they've already said that this is going to be, the social distancing is going to be a gold standard. So the demand is very, very high, and it's there. And because of this uniqueness of it, the key decision makers is quite different as well. So if you're, for any businesses, buying a commodity is never the CEO or top management's role. They will have a procurement. They will have they will assign to someone to go and buy a commodity. But now, because of this special situation, it is the top management having to make a strategic decision. As for them is that, is, for example, we have a lot of retailers that have come to us, is that they are struggling they have to make a strategic decision to say what measures I have to put in place in order for me to open next week. So it is for them to make the decision. And because of this, because of the combine of the immediate demand, that the key decision makers are actually top management, that the sales cycle is actually very short. And we're talking about 3 weeks. This has never happened. A lot of you who have been with us, you probably already know a sales cycle is usually 3 months, if not 6 months, 9 months, sometimes even more than a year. So those are very common on there, but this sales cycle is 3 weeks. They're almost needing you to say, okay, I need to make a decision by this end of this week. And then can you then make a national rollout starting next week? So this is the speed of it. So speed is everything here. Because if not, the businesses might have already chosen someone else for that, but also be prepared that they probably may demand that you install it quite quickly. So we understand this, hence that's why at the beginning I mentioned we have a very quick lead time. It's because we need to support you so that you are able to deploy in a very short time. It is a very high and a quick and high conversion rate from cold calls or a cold email. Now, the target markets is also quite wide. So usually with a people counting, typically you're looking at retail stores and some very big venues. But now we are seeing that supermarkets, grocery stores, DIY stores, fast food chains. Fast food chains is usually the one that don't buy a lot of things because they have a very small store and whoever goes in there, they buy. So they're needing to do marketing more outside of their store, but inside their store, they really quite minimal. So, but fast food chain now needs that because they can't allow so many people to go in there to queue. So they're almost one of those that need to reopen. So a lot of them are only allowing drive-through now, but they desperately wants to reopen. But then they will have to have measures in place, and those are the one. And fast food chains, you're talking about, obviously the numbers is there for that. Retail stores, naturally, public venues where they are doing public services like banks, shopping malls, government facilities. Usually these are the last one who need any kind of people counting because they don't normally need to know how many people come in. But now they are one that that at least they need to lead the country to show that they are taking occupancy very seriously. So not just immigration department, but a lot of local councils offices, those where they open up for public to go in there, for that, hospitals, office buildings, libraries, museums, and all that. And also, we didn't put it here, is campuses, universities, those that are wanting to open up in autumn. In here, it will be for the next academic year, which is coming in September, October time. All the universities will need to plan for that. Now, getting started for partners, many of you are already with us, so very simple, the same things applies on there. But if any one of you are new, then the process that way is that you will sign up as a partner so that we can provide you at a reseller pricing. We do have an evaluation kit that we can supply to you at a discounted rate just for the first unit. Then you can test it out. And also some other volume pricing as well that we have that. So do ask us for these price lists on there. So now helping you to market. So we are sharing our knowledge base, and we're also sharing our experience there with you. So website, a web page on your website is usually where all the people find you. And we love a lot of our resellers just come back to us and say that they are quite shocked about with the response as soon as they have the website, or they do some Google AdWords or some social media advertising. So we will supply you with the media pack. Inside we share the keywords that work and also the website content. So you might have already seen our website there on there. So we will share all the imagery, all the text with you. Of course, you don't have to you don't have to do your website the way we do it, but it's just that we provided those texts for you so that just to make it easier for you. You can obviously translate it into your local market. So I think with a website is quite key because that's where all the businesses is trying to search for a occupancy system online. You might also find that, and we do find that a cold emails to those decision makers is very effective. Again, we have the template there inside the media pack that that we find it useful, and obviously you can reference to that. Now, the reason why cold email is very effective now. Cold calls is usually we obviously are not trying to teach you how to sell. You are the expert in your industry, and you probably find that cold calls is usually not very effective. Usually, the reason is because you may not find the correct decision maker. The company is the customer's company is so big you wouldn't know who is in charge of what. But now it's very definitive. It's almost always the top management. Usually it will be the sales director or operating directors or the business operation. So it's very direct, and also because usually with a cold email they treat it as a spam, they don't look at it, or they will feel that it's a different department that is taking care of it. But now there are a lot of those have come back to us, and they're saying it's because they're desperate. They do not know what system, what are available out there, because this pandemic has taken the world by surprise, and no one knows what to do before. And so when your emails goes to them, they're almost like, oh, I think this will work for us. And they actually will come back and reply to you and say, can you tell me more? So this is something that is very unique, and we find it very effective, because then you are then just going direct and talk to the directors, and that will proceed quite quickly. We also share you these PowerPoint slides so that you can take any notes, any images from there to reuse if you need. You may want to emphasize on the speed, because this is everything to them. So even if their own system integrator can make them something better or anything, the development is impossible to be done within 2 months. So speed is everything. Is the readiness of the product is everything to them. We'll also obviously be passing local leads to you. You'll be able to ring fence your leads as well. So if you're working with a certain partners or customers, or you say that, okay, I have now brief this to my customer and he's very interested, so I want to protect my my interest. So you will ring fence, you will tell us that, okay, I'm working now with who, I want to ring fence that. So we will then protect it for you, so that they won't come to us or neither the other reseller. And also sometimes that you might come to us and say, okay, I'm going to approach this this retailer, and we might tell you that, oh, it has already been ring fenced by another reseller. So then you won't waste time on that, and you move on to other leads. So key points, I want to share this is just because we have been asked by a lot of partners and say, what is a winning speech? So if you go to a end customer, what is a winning speech that you always land you the deal? So these are a few things I want to share. So what it is the business owner. So be it a retailer, be it an office, or even a hospital, or even government department, we call them the business owner because they are the one who is making the decision. They want to be seen. So because with security guards, they are already spending a lot of money, they're not being seen. So this now is something they want to be seen, that they are doing something, using something high tech and scientifically driven. Because with that, with this, a lot of people, the perception is that you really care. So being seen as using this will give them the image to the world that their business really care. So this is a key message. It's almost like a marketing message to their customers for their own brand, that they need to be seen and using that. Because this is non-biased. For their employee and for their customers, because they never trust a man at the door. For the customers, they will always argue and say, your shop is still quite empty, why aren't you letting me in? So they're doing that. And then but the employee on the inside, because they have served so many customers throughout the day, they are complaining, why are you letting so many people in? So is always that, but whereas a display screen at the door is very transparent. It's just tell everyone, now you can go in, now it's under capacity, or now you can't go in. So it's very transparent, and it's also cost effective. Now, one of the key reasons, obviously, they have to comply, hence, well, the winning speech is almost there, that, well, you have to have it for those business to do business with a peace of mind. Because when they have done it, so it is something that say, I have already put it in place. Now, I have put in my best effort. And it's also because with all those alerts and all those reports is actually making them feel that they are in control. And indeed, they will be in control of that. Now, the display widget is also a winning point because then they can, it is a proactive approach for them to influence that. It's also because they are always wanting that pre-COVID anyway. So for example, in here, if I go on Google and I search something, for example, a supermarket near me, Google sometimes give me their occupancy. But that is on Google. So businesses are always wanting something like this on their widget, on their website. But before this, they wouldn't have a need to, they may not have think that they have a need to put a people counter in. But now, because they're already putting a people counter in, then there is something they would want to have a widget on their website. Now, this is key. Off-the-shelf product is ready to use, so we can deploy it very quickly for you. It is high accuracy, and there's a long-term usage. The other thing is also the total project cost is really very low for the client because the security guard version, the manual counting, is going to be much more higher. Even if they're not using security guard and they're using their own store staff, that is also still a salary they need to pay. So that the other alternative is much more costly than with this system. And because of competitive urgency and seriousness of it, then they will need to be making a decision very soon. Now, I want to show you about a demo of our enterprise class software. Sorry, I just drank that. So when I share you these slides, I will have some more details in here, and then you can have all this link to go to the specific reports, the different sample reports there, and it tells you what kind of management control and health check you can have. Now I'm going to show you the actual demo. So it will be so if you can go on a browser, you'll be able to just log in. So you will log into this software. So there will be a menu board here, and then all all the different reports that you can have there. So this is like an analytics center that you can go and compare to different stores at different time. This is for footfall. Now, then this is where the one that you can, this is a space occupancy dashboard for this specific store. So if you're using a monitor to log in, this is where you can log in and you can see that. If it's a tablet, it will be on an app, but this is what is going to be shown. So for example, now you have more than 4 people going in that capacity. You'll be able to easily edit that. So if you click on here, you'll be able to go and click and configure. You'll be able to then change the tags in there. Of course, I won't be making any changes now, but this is where you'll be able to say when it is by a default level, then you'll be showing enter here. And then when it reaches threshold 2, it will be displaying this. So you'll be able to make changes on there, and then you can save that. Now then for the staff, as you say, the employee facing, as you can say, it's changed now. So it's a live, it's a real-time one. This is something for them to show. And then this is the historic throughout the day, what kind of then occupancy was there. But because this is over the whole day, so it's quite very, very high resolution there. So this is a dashboard that they will see. We also have, for example, this is an office. So this is a live occupancy for an office. So in here, for this one, for example, if they have 2 entrances on the ground floor, just put 2 cameras there, then they'll be able to have the total occupancy of the whole office building. With that, the capacity is 500, the current live occupancy is that. Now then, if they install cameras at the lift, at the stairs, then they'll be able to split that occupancy into the individual floor. So now you will know that which floor is quite full and which floor is still empty. So we have requirement where they will put a screen outside the lift to show that, okay, you come to first floor, it's now full, don't come into this floor, you should go on to the second floor. So people can then move to this specific area where they can work. Now this is also then, so usually the first phase for you to get your foot in will be just to install the 2 cameras on the ground floor entrance. Then later you will then tell them the second phase, you will want to install the cameras at just a lift. So maybe another 10 or 30 more cameras. Depending on how tall the building is. And then the third phase is where they want to put into individual rooms, because they may have an open space office, they may have the individual rooms. So these are where they will put it so that the employee can then come and they will look at the dashboard like this and say, okay, I better not go into that room because it's full now, but this room is empty, so let me go there. So because now it's a very dynamic workspace, offices almost need to relay out their floors, their facilities, so that they can allow their employee to go and work in a safe place. Now this one was done pre-COVID. This one was done before that. It was more for a facility utilization management. So it's for the facility management team to see that this room is always full, this room is always empty, this is always half used, so that they can relay out their facility to suit the need. And we have some very big corporation with just facility management like that is saving them £8 million in the first year by being able to consolidate spaces. They probably then be able to close down some unused floor or better manage that. Obviously also for energy optimization. Things like, for example, in this lecture hall, if they find that they're always underutilized, they can always then split that into 2 smaller ones. The other thing is like when they have catering facility on premise, so they want to stagger their employee lunch time. So the employee don't have to all come down at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock where there is a big queue and they can't find a space to sit. Now they have an internal widget, which is like, our widget for the website. Hence, that's why we have done a widget pre-COVID. This is so that they can then see they want to stagger their employee lunchtime. So the employee can then see, oh, it's really crowded now, so let me go half an hour later. So this is one that, so you will find that they are not only just needing 2 cameras at the entrance, they will need a lot more cameras at a later date. There are also other reporting. So many of you are familiar with this. So this is footfall counting. This is company level for top management. They can see how many people go into their store, how long they stay in their store, whether or not their returning rate, sales conversion, best store, worst store across the region, their visitor count by month, by week, by day compared to last year. How many people are outside that have come in, so that they'll see that, oh, I have got still a lot of opportunity out there. I've got a very high outside traffic, but people are not coming in. So maybe I can do something outside my store to try to attract people in. Things like this, visit duration, you know, the breakdown of your customer, how long they stay in your store, to see how you can improve that and see whether when you let a customer stay longer, whether or not your sales goes up. Returning customer, how loyal are your customers to your brand, and their sales conversion, marketing effectiveness. So a lot of them, they want to compare, you know, if I'm running a campaign, the start and end of my campaign is here. So I want to see the effect before, during, and after the campaign. So this is called marketing effectiveness. So you can see whether or not that affects how many people come into your shop, whether or not how long they stay in your shop, returning customer, and your sales conversion. They're also using it for staff planning. So, for example, footfall to staff ratio, they will see that, you know, this is then, for example, last 7 days from morning to evening. You will then see that you're understaffed on Monday, 11 o'clock, but you're overstaffed on Friday, 4 p.m. So things like this, based on this, because if you're understaffed, then you will have missed some sales opportunity. So we can even, if you're combining with the sales data, we can almost give you a missed opportunity on there. Staff, if you're overstaffed, obviously that is cost to the business. We also have predictive engine. So this is where our predictive engine we have already built is we predict future footfall based on historical data. So last year this time, and also based on trend, current trend. So maybe or not, maybe this week you have a very good weather, or maybe obviously something happened, there is an event going on, so that might affect your footfall. So we have that, and then so that we can give you a prediction of for the next week, you need to have 1 team of staff on a Monday morning, but you need to have 3 teams on a Saturday at 12 o'clock. So, you know, the next few weeks. So that's when our prediction engine is for. You also have zone analytics this is more for shopping malls usually. Then the different zone, which zones are more popular, and then they might end up finding that their second floor zone is actually still very popular. People do go there, and that might justify a rental increase, things like this. And also traffic flow. Where do people come in? So they come in from the main entrance, then where do people go? Do they go to this corridor and then go to another corridor? So things like this. So now it's not just a shopping mall. We find that a lot of campuses, universities, they are also doing this traffic flow, not just within the same building, but they're doing it across different buildings. So for universities, they go to different lecture halls, different departments, and then they go to maybe their catering facility, the student unions, things like this. And not just universities, we have corporate headquarters where they have multiple office buildings in an estate. So again, same thing like this, they want to see a traffic flow. So more for their facility management. So you have that. So these are all the different reports that we have there. All these different reporting down here, company level, site level. So I want to also mention about, so these are the, we also customize a report for your end customers, because every business is different. We have the capability of customizing them. We do need time, obviously. So usually they would use our default reports for the first few months. And then they would come to you and say, okay, I do want to lay out the report differently. I want to integrate with something. And then they come to us, they will raise a request for that, and we will do that for them. So that because why we actually don't charge for this, as long as there's a potential. Of course, we won't do a customized report when there is potential of only buying 5 counters. But the reason why we're doing it for especially all those big customers is because the more that we customize the report for them, then they will then roll out, because once they have used a customized report, that already goes into their business DNA. And at that point, they will roll out. So that helps with obviously our unit sales. So those are the reports use of the software. This software also have all these maintenance and management of all those different cameras. So for example, in here, then they will be managing all the counters there. Sorry, they'll be able to add a different site, you know, on there, and then put different cameras underneath it on there. They can do it that way. They also have the email planner, the users. They will manage all their users on there. We also use it for maintenance. So for example, in here, you will have an issue tracker. So you come in here, then you will be managing all your branch, all your cameras. Blue lights means everything is working fine. Any system message will be there. They can log a support request here, and we will feedback there. They can always record a video to check on the accuracy. Something I want to bring out here, which is our verification study. So with all the cameras that is being installed, we actually go and tune, we configure the system for you. And what we also do is we record a video. So this is a video being recorded at that time, from 5 to 5:30. So what we do is once we recorded it, we actually have a team to do the manual counting. So they sit there and they do the count. And then you compare it with the system count, what it is on the software. With that, so combining a few video, then you'll be able to get a total accuracy. So in here, the system miscounted 3. So the accuracy is 97%. So they can always watch this video. When you click on that, you can actually go and see it here. Sorry, I probably need to reload that. So you'll be able to watch the video there on there. So I might just click on another video there for you. So I will speed that up so that you can see some action. So this is a video being recorded there. You will see a person when they pass by. If I slow that a little bit, you will see that there is actually a number on top of their head. That is their height. 1.7, 1.5, that is the height of the person, because the 3D camera actually sees a person's height. That's how it becomes so accurate, because we will be able to distinguish a person from anything else in the background. So then your customers, yourself, will be able to sit there and watch and do the counting as well. Just so everything is very transparent and it's verified to that accuracy. So they can, as I said, they can always go and look at that. And then we have health check in place. So your cameras is constantly being checked, and then we check whether or not they're online. If they're online, whether or not they have counting. And if those counting are actually updated to the server. So we check this on constantly throughout the day. For example, here they have 129 sites. We say that everything is okay for 120 sites. Now you have 9 sites that are not okay. It's actually offline. It's pending customer feedback. So you have all these reasons here if they are not right. So all those offline lists are here. Why are they? So we have been notified. This one is because they're undergoing refurbishment. So the store is renovating. So they're waiting. Obviously, everything is on hold because of the lockdown. And then when they're opening back up again, they will reconnect the camera. So this is all there, and whenever there is a new thing that appears here, an alert will be emailed. So you don't have to constantly log into here to look at it. You will actually receive an email alert on there. Any accuracy issue will be there as well. So this health check is to make sure that your system is online and it's counting and it has data. Now, then we also have another thing called the data integrity. So this is data availability, and then you have data integrity. So it is because that if you have data available, whether or not those data is good enough. This is what we call the data integrity. So we consider how many people come in. You will have the same amount of people going out at the end of the day. So then if they don't match, there's a discrepancy. So for example, here, this is 0.14%. So it's almost the same number. Now, because we cannot guarantee 100% accuracy, we say our system is more than 95%. So you will again get an alert if the discrepancy goes over 5%. So this is always system there continuously checking that your data is good to use. We also look for spikes, unusual, abnormal number. So for example, if you have if you have data, but suddenly today you have a data that is higher than usual. So this is where we want to alert you to know that. So maybe that then you can come here. We have all these system methods there already to how to do that, and also historical snapshots of how your camera looks like. So obviously they were closed in the last few months, and this is previously your left lens, your right lens, because you have two lenses on your camera. It's a 3D camera, and this is the setting, how it looks like. So for example, suddenly today you have unusually high number of count. What is it? Maybe then you will find out that my usual entrance is like that, but today I have a bunch of balloons there. Or I suddenly put up a dangling decoration from the ceiling that is blocking the view. So suddenly I don't count anything today. So things like this. These are all the tools there to be able to help to make maintenance very, very effective on there. So this is all about the software. It is very good to show to your customers, to explain all those things that we have already put in place for them. So please feel free to go and click on those links to get it. A very quick one on the hardware as well, because you might want to tell your customers about the specific engineering design that we have put in to our system. So we are a 3D camera, so you see the two lenses there, and we also have a Wi-Fi dongle because we do Wi-Fi tracking as well. So with our system, it is dual technology, 3D and Wi-Fi. So we have two technology in there. So no other 3D camera out there that does both technology. So that's one point. The other thing is that we actually put a computer inside. With our camera, it's actually a full-on computer in there that are capable of just running any laptop. So it's literally a laptop up there in that small cameras. Now, the other thing is also, the reason being using a full computer on there, a full powerful processor, is so that we can run a very intensive image processing algorithm. That is very key, because the way that you want to improve accuracy is to be able to run those high functioning image processing algorithm. Now, for those is usually very intensive. They need very high power to run it, and because you also need to run it real time. You're not recording a video and then go to a server and let it run. So you need to be able to count a person within seconds, because a person passed by the door in seconds. They don't take more than 5 seconds to walk past the door. So that is the challenge with the real-time people counting on there. So you literally actually would want to have a very high spec computer in there. Now, the other second design is an engineering design, is that different from all the other camera out there, which are plastic casing, we're actually using a metal casing. The reason for metal casing is so that we have heat dissipation, which is very key. Heat dissipation means that is drawing heat from the CPU to the environment. Now, your laptop is metal. When you touch your laptop, it's actually warm. So this is what it is as well. Because your laptop, the CPU, they need to be able to dissipate the heat outside. Because your laptop, they usually don't have a fan. Your desktop have a fan, hence it can be plastic, but your laptop don't have a fan. So it does needs to have the metal, because metal is a very good heat conductor. That's how it's actually dissipate heat out there. So this is key. It serves two purposes. It allows us to use a very powerful processor to run intensive algorithm. That's very key because that generates heat. The second thing is also it increased the durability. Our mean time to failure is 25 years. So that's how long durability it will be. So it's usually that you will want, your customer will want to upgrade. We are hoping that they want to upgrade to a new device in 5 years' time, so that they will get more functionality out of that. Then they will go faulty. So this metal alloy casing is quite key for that. The other design we have it is what we call a triple redundancy. OS is operating system. So your computer will have one operating system. Any of your devices, your iPad, your tablet, your phone, they all have one operating system. So with anything, you're probably quite familiar now, is that, you know, the longer that you use it, the more program that you runs on it, that OS will hang. So what you do then is that you need to reboot it. But when this is then up on the ceiling, you don't want to reboot that, because, and especially when you have installed thousands of them, then you want minimum of maintenance. So that's why we put in 3 OS. Onto our system. So this one will reference the aircraft, where aircraft have double redundancy. So for example, your aircraft will have one engine on each side of the wing. So you have 2 engines. The design of the aircraft is that when one fails, the remaining one engine will be able to land you safely. So that is the double redundancy of an aircraft. So with this, the same way, we go up the game a bit, we have triple redundancy. So when the first OS goes down, when it hangs, then the second OS will continue counting, and then that will then send then it will also be rebooting the first OS, whilst the third OS is acting as a backup. So these are the major design that we put in place on our hardware. I'm going to go to quick Q&A session very quickly. So just going through some frequently asked question is that if I have multiple entrances to a premise, can you deal with that? Yes. So for example, we have in here, some of our customers already have, for example, this branch, we have 3 entrances. We combine all 3 of them into one occupancy count. You just need to tell us how many cameras counts or the entrances for that area. So some is actually just 2, some will have 4, so you can have multiple cameras for that area. We do be able to activate the integration with the electronic door. You just need to let us know. For that, we supply the wire to that. So there's no extra cost from us, but you need to be able to do that on your side to your door. There's no hardware modification we need to do, but you just need to, we do need to put the cable into the camera. So if you could let us know prior when you are ordering whether or not you will require this. So if you want to use your own tablet, yes, we recommend Android tablet version 9 and above. We don't supply any tablet or stand, so you need to be able to supply that, although we can share with you if you're struggling to find a supplier. And where can you get that app? So we will give you a link. We do have a setup guide. So when you have that, we'll give you a link for you to go and download that. So that's the end of my presentation.